If these two guys stay in the race, there will be a Democrat as governor. I can't see any other political calculation. Am I wrong in this?
I think the odds are that that's going to be the case. That,
Am I wrong on this?
That a Tancredo race.
I think that's what's going to happen.
So again, it's the circular firing squad that is the Republican Party. The only way that's going to happen is those two guys are going to have to step out. How does that happen? Tell me how that happens. Well, make that happen, please, for God's sake, make that happen.
I wish we had, you know, and I wish that the party had more influence in this process. But the reality, when it starts with the caucuses and the assemblies, the job of the party is to make sure that the process runs fairly, that everybody's got access to it. And this time around, we had a number of different candidates throw their hat in the ring at various stages in the process and bow out of the governor's race at different stages.
It's what Ryan is saying. I'd like to go back to for a second, because this should have been, or at least could have been, the Republicans' year. And they could have come roaring back with a lot of success. And yet the candidates, and in the governor's race at least, just really turned out to be real jokers, to use Tancredo's term. It's too bad that you didn't have a Mike Fallon. And I know he got in late, so that is what it is. But at this time in history, what the Republicans need to do and what the Tea Party folks need to do is realize that they need to find folks like Paul Ryan, folks like that who have real ideas, who don't look spooky on social issues, but who seem dedicated to, you know, their personal core beliefs.
It's more than that. Let me suggest this. One of the reasons that the left won is that they stopped playing politician games and started playing infrastructure games. That is, they started to invest in think tanks and media watchdog groups and ethics watch groups that use nothing but find dirt on Republicans. They put money into the infrastructure. Republicans still play by the good old boys network, and let's remember that it was a few years ago when Scott McGinnis, as representative, said he wouldn't run for United States Senate so that Ben Nighthorse Campbell, then newly a Republican who switched over from being a Democrat, wouldn't have a challenge. And by doing that, he got a lot of favors. And so we give money, our rich guys give money to have access to politicians so that they can pick up a guy and call him on the phone. The new left has built up a system that is more directed towards infrastructure, which is the politician really doesn't matter as much as the mechanisms of playing politics. Would you agree with me on this?
Absolutely.
We haven't learned
the Democratic Party, but they don't do it through the party infrastructure. No. They bypass it. Exactly. One of the strengths, I think, still of the Republican Party is our party really is pretty grassroots. I mean, if you look at the people that are out there doing the hard work of walking precincts and contacting voters, it's the little old ladies, it's the folks that are willing to get out there and do that work. Our party still is, in large measure, that party of the grassroots. I understand you're.
Yeah, it's done a lot of good for us, hasn't it?
But I'm going to say that
this is a conservative state, and all three branches of government are firmly ensconced in Democratic hands. And it's, yes, because they've done a lot of good stuff, but we've done a lot of bad stuff. When we were in control of the House and the Senate and the governor's office, we didn't do anything with it. We didn't pass those reforms. We had a once in 50-year opportunity to do something. Same thing on the federal level. The George Bush years were an economic disaster. Not like what we've got going now, but we laid the groundwork. It's time for Republicans to step up and say, we've got to change our operating system. This is not working. Playing the old party politics and playing personalities isn't going to work.
But look what you had all the way up until this point, when now policy has kind of been tossed aside and it's just a who's the best chance to win. Scott McGinnis, when asked repeatedly to provide specifics about what he would do to bring down government spending and whatnot, would never give us any kind of firm idea of what that would look like. Well, once I get there, I'll look at the books and I'll go through them and it'll all work at that point. Why aren't we hearing from, why don't people see that that's where the energy is right now? People want to see some ideas and they want to hear them and test them out, and ideas would gain a lot of ground right now.
We're Republicans. What don't you get here? We're Republicans.
See, John, I think that the Republican Party is still a party of important ideas and thoughtful ideas. You've mentioned Paul Ryan as examples, you know, but I think we've got thoughtful people in our state. We've had some terrific stars in the legislature who took principled stances on policy, articulated good alternatives to the Democrats' budgets and the Democrats' priorities in recent years. And we've got some great ones that are moving up from that. Cory Gardner, who's running in the 4th Congressional District, is a great star, very thoughtful on policy, very competent as a politician. But more than that, he understands he gets policy, but he also gets making that case to the electorate, and he's doing very well. And I think he's going to be a terrific congressman up in the 4th. We've got others that are running in other races, but you got to start investing in the infrastructure, like you said, at the local level.
And what the left did, which the right hasn't, is they put money into infrastructure outside of the party. I know you love the party. I hate to be the one to break this to you, but since the liberals passed campaign finance laws here in Colorado, you don't matter. You just don't matter. I love you. You're a good guy. You got more hair than I do. It's a nice hairline, but it just doesn't matter. We have to build an infrastructure, which means knowing that politicians will always disappoint. It doesn't matter who it is. But by building up this infrastructure and building up the principles, I think we could do something. All right, let's do some handicapping here. We've got a few minutes left. I hold out hope that Tancredo is still going to drop out, but it's only going to be if he and McGinnis do it together. And I still think that's a possibility. Tell me how that is going to work. Tell me what's going to happen to make that happen. Because if that doesn't, we're all in agreement. Hickenlooper becomes governor. That's that.
He'll probably have the better inside view of that, so I'll take my shot first. The money will dry up. People will make it clear to Scott McGinnis that there's not going to be any money.
I think the money is drying up right now.
It's drying up now. But I think there would be a flood of money if
the
Republicans could field suddenly a
by the way,
credible
if you're one of those people that has lots of money, the Independence Institute is a 501c3 tax-exempt organization just willing to take your check.
Because Republicans, you're talking about infrastructure, Republicans are aware that this is a year that's critical for state houses.
Right.
You need to get a governor because redistricting comes up this time, and a Republican governor would help a lot in 2012.
That's huge. All right. I agree with you.
There'd be plenty of money if they just had a good candidate.
The money is going to start drying up for Scott. The money's not going to come in for Tom except in dribs and drabs, I think. What's going to happen? And then what?
Well,
what pushes it the way I need it to get pushed?
Well, the process is this is up to Scott to make his decision. He, or whoever our Republican Party's nominee is, if it's Dan Mays or if it's Scott McGinnis, it'll be up to the candidate to decide if he's going to be able to mount a viable campaign. It's not my job as a party leader or anybody else, aside from talking with him informally and maybe pointing out the numbers. But that's what ultimately it's his decision if he's going to stay in the race or not. If
that being said, we all agree if he stays in the race and Tancredo stays in the race, we all lose. We have less than a minute left. So tell me, how do we solve it? Who?
I don't have a name for you, John. It's premature. Let's let the voters decide in the primary.
You are such a Republican, I tell you. And I mean that in the best way. Mm-hmm. All right, I see this happening in as you described. The money's going to start drying up. It's going to become clearer and clearer, and sooner or later that decision is going to be made. But the other thing that Scott's going to need is a reassurance that in his private sector life, he's going to do all right, because you don't want to run for governor and then hurt later as an attorney because you didn't run a very good campaign. That's not, and nobody else is going to run, which is one of the reasons it's so tough. Chuck, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I hear you work for a newspaper. I'm sure it's a wonderful job. When I learn to read, I'll do it. Ryan, thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you. By all means, tune in next week. Listen for me late nights on 850 KOA. Tell a friend, and we'll see you next time.